All yours,
Jai
Pratap.
Baba,
Baba.
Jai Baba, all of you.
Jai Baba.
And thank you, Jai Baba. To resume the subject of Bera Mangala Center, you see, it is very easy to say that this center has been erected here, collecting money on that. But the subtleties in the whole project, that is very interesting. And that we have to understand. Now, for us, it's very easy. Somebody went there and somebody thought of reviving this whole scheme and just he collected money and did that. But besides that, there are more interesting factors in the whole scheme. Now, I tell you, after the Pune Center was created, Ramakrishna was very much involved in that whole running of the center because the running is not difficult. Creating, it's all right, one has created, but then to run the center to meet with the expenses, every month expenses, that is a problem. But anyway, that is a different thing. We are not going to discuss that now. But then about this Bhaira Mangala, Ramakrishna was every time he was in a thought of some source of income for Pune Center. All these small booklets which he had compiled and printed, they were an effort to earn something for the center so that the center could run in a easy way, in a proper way. Because the contributions were very less. In fact, I remember the put Baba himself had put the contributions. So 1 rupee, 2 rupees, 5 rupees, 10 rupees at the most. And Patil Kaka was there. He was um, he was there to uh, see whenever the center is in an urgent need of money, he has to see that. And Merji Karkaria was also there. So this was the arrangement made. And but even then, he was very much worried as to how to collect monthly contributions for the center and run the center properly. In that process, he had opened one dispensary with the help of Kishore Mistry from Mumbai. And that homeopathy dispensary, once in a month, Kishore used to come from Mumbai and he used to treat the patients. After his death, his daughter, Veena, sorry, I'm by name Shobha, she took over. She is a graduate in this homeopathy. She is a doctor. So she took over this dispensary. Now she knew little about this magnetic therapy also. And even Ramakrishna has read a lot about magnetic therapy. He had experiment also on himself. So he had thought of some side by side, some sort of a magnetic treatment for the patients. Shobha, the doctor who was to run the dispensary afterwards, after Kishore Mesi passed away, she knew little about this magnetic therapy. And Ramakrishnan was after to collect some material, some magnets for this purpose. For that purpose, he had come to Mumbai also. I had taken him to some shops and he had purchased some magnets there. And in the same process, he had gone to Bangalore because somebody told him that in Bangalore, there are good shops who are selling only these magnets for the medical purposes. And that way he went to Bangalore. Now, he knew little about, he read about the person who was there, a Baba lover by name Gankoba Rao. And he went to his house, he stayed there for a couple of days. And whatever purchases he had to make, he had thought of making purchase of a package. He did that. And in a leisure time, he asked Gankoba Rao that I have read much about this Bera Mangala project, which Baba has kept it half done or abandoned because of some reasons. And Gankoba Rao says that, yes, I know this place. So Ramkrishna says, I would like to visit this place. And then both of them, Gankoba Rao had his car. They went and went to that site. It was all dungeon. I mean, much of grass was grown, and then a very much neglected place. And there, of course, he looked all these sites. Out of there were to be 12 rooms, 12 rooms of particular size by 15 by 15 and 12. This was the size they were to be constructed. 9 were already constructed, but the doors were broken. Some repairs were required for use. But then 3 were remaining to be completed. Now, Ramakrishna wrote the whole account and they asked that person, Ivankarabha, Baba had come and stayed here for a couple of days, for about 3 days or so. So can you tell me in which room Baba had stayed? Yes, Venkopara said, yes, I can show you that. This is the room where Baba had stayed. And Ramkrishna says that when I went there to enter the room, I saw Baba sitting on a chair. Actually, Mer Baba sitting on a chair with his brick colored coat and dhoti. He was wearing dhoti. And he was thrilled to see Baba actually. He was thrilled to see Baba. And then afterwards, Baba disappeared. Now, when Ramakrishna came out of the room, the words that came out of his mouth that this place must come to life again. These are the words which started ringing in his mind, and they come out of his mouth and said, he asked Venkova Rao as to who is the owner of this land, because that land in the beginning, for quite number of years, it was being taken care of by Venkova Rao, the one person who had taken Ramakrishna to that side. His name is Venkova Rao. And he was young when he came to serve Baba. Just a young boy. Out of the 3 boys, I referred about that last time. Out of the 3 boys, this was one of the boys. And he was, after Baba abandoned, Baba took the whole, just a whole his family to Mehrabad, back to Mehrabad. And Venkova Rao was looking after this place. And once when he went to meet Baba in Mehrabad, he expressed his difficulty in looking after the place, saying that Baba, my children are grown up now. They are to be educated, they have to be put in a school, and there is no such a school just nearby in that area. It is a very remote area, and there is no school. So I would like to shift to Bangalore for the purpose of education of children. And very casually, Baba said that you sell out this land. Just mind well, this very important points I tell you. Baba said you sell of this land. And then the person went, when he went back, he sold the land at a actually throwaway price. As I learned that it was sold only for 3,000 rupees, out of which Baba had written 1,000 rupees for the expenses, his own purpose, and Baba never used for his own purpose, but for his work. And rest of the money he asked him to keep up with him. Such a big land was sold at such a throwaway price, and thereafter the person who had purchased the land, his name was Muniappa. Muniappa is a name from Karnataka. It is they speak Kannadi language. Now Ramakrishna, when he thought that this place should come to life again, he asked Yankoba Rao as to who is the owner of this land at present. And Yankoba Rao said that he is staying nearby village. So Ramakrishna said, hey, can we see him now? Yes, yes. Let us see whether he is at home. And both of them from there went to that place, to that house of that person. That person was a social political leader. He was a quite nice person, quite a reputed one, but somehow he contested some local election and he was defeated very badly. He lost lot of money in that. And he has actually I mean, just in a very fixed position of difficulty as regards money is concerned. And because of this shock, he had taken to liquor, drinking liquor. And the family, because of the troublesome behavior of this person, they had abandoned him. So he was staying in his own house, but a small house, and he used to sleep on there was a mezzanine floor. We call it was the old time, that's the old time, we called it Port Mala. So there he was sleeping. He had one cot, he used to sleep there, and their family used to send food and all that. But he was all alone. When these two persons went, Ramakrishna and Vinkorab went there, and they just climbed up that small stair. He was lying on the cot. As soon as these two people went there, he got up. He had a simple bed there, simple cot and bed, and many bottles, empty and filled up bottles were lying there, filled up with liquor. So he was so very addicted to liquor. And but then, luckily, when these two people went there, he was not so much intoxicated. He was in a state of, I mean, conversing with people. And first, Venko Rao introduced K.K. Ramakrishnan to him, and she also said that he is a very staunch Mir Baba lover, He is secretary of the Poona Center in the Pune Railway Center, and all that introduction he gave. And then Ramakrishna also had talked with him, but then there was some language problem, of course. But then that was not, I mean, very much came all the way in the way. And what on behalf of Ramakrishna, Vyankova Rao said to that person that the land which you are owning now, which have been purchased by Meher Baba for his center, that land, this man wants to purchase it. And he wants to purchase it for building a Meher Baba center there. In very clear terms, he explained to him that for Meher Baba center, K.K. Ramakrishnan wants to purchase that land at any cost. And you please negotiate with him about the price. And that man said, I don't want to sell the land because it is a Devasthan. It is a God's place. I don't want to sell that land. In fact, adjacent to that property, there was a factory, some factory. And that owner of that factory was very much interested in this land because he wanted to extend the activities of his factory. And for that matter, he was very much after purchasing this land, the same land where the nine rooms were constructed. And where Baba had dug that land and laid down the stone. But then that man, this Muniappa, that factory wala, he refused. I don't want to sell this land because it is a Devasthan. Once, twice, three times, that person, every time he would meet that owner of that factory, would meet Muniappa and request him to sell that land to him. And Muniappa will every time he will refuse, saying that it is Devasthan and I am not going to sell it. Ultimately, on the fourth time, you see, third time, he said that now this is enough now. If you ask me again for selling this land, if you ask me again, I will beat you with my sandal. To that extent, thereafter, that man just left the whole idea of purchasing the land. Now here, K.K. Ramakrishnan is offering to purchase this land. And here also the Muniappa gave the same answer that I don't want to sell the land. It is said that certain times when Muniappa is perhaps must have been in a disturbed mood, he used to go there and sleep in one of the rooms. That is reported. And somehow he was visiting that place at certain times. One another very notable thing which is said about that land is, this is what is learned from Muniappa, that in cobra is very often coming to that place. It is a belief in the Indian society that if a treasure is there, some good treasure is there, or some very important place is there, it is being protected by a cobra. That is what the belief is among the Indians. If supposing in the olden time they used to have all that ornaments and much treasure, they should dig a big hole and then bury it. And for years together, it used to remain like that. And some people of that family must be knowing about it, and then There was a talk, but then it is said that that particular place is always protected by cobra. That is the belief. So here also, what he said that very often a cobra comes to this area and sits some time and then goes away. These are the stories which were afterwards learned from these people. Now, this man, Muniyappa, what he said to Ramakrishna, that I myself want to create some sort of a charitable institute here for the old people who have been abandoned by by their children. The children don't take care of them. Either such a old person, I want to open an institute to look after them, or for the for the children, poor class children, want to open some institute like that. And K.K. Ramakrishna said that it's a very, very good idea. Nobody can question it. And if at all you start this work of creating that sort of institute here, I will personally come stay with you and work for it. That is what Ramakrishna told him. I will personally come and stay and help you in the maintaining of this such institute. But if you think of selling this land anytime, the first customer will be me. You should please inform me, and then I will arrange to pay off the amount and purchase this land. So please don't sell it to anybody before you ask me. I want to purchase the land by at any cost. Now, after this conversation, Ramakrishna came back to Pune. He was waiting for some response from that Muniyappa. And days were going on like this. About 1.5 months went without any information from that side. And one night, midnight, Ramakrishna received a call from Venkoba Rao stating that Muniyappa is selling this land now. So you should immediately come with some money and we will pay some token amount to that person and then decide about the price and all that. So for that matter, you have to come by the next train, whatever train you get. Now this Ramakrishna, the very next morning, he went to the bank, he withdrew some amount for traveling purposes. He took one another person by name Mr. More, Sayaji More, just to help, just to assist in if any need is there. And both of them purchased tickets were purchased and both of them went to Bangalore. And in Bangalore, they first contacted Venkoba Rao. Venkoba Rao along with his son by name Deva Rao. He was looking after this. No, he also accompanied him. Now he is the person who is looking after that property, and he has a very young son. They are very managing the whole affairs of that property. So then these 4 people, K.K. Ramakrishna, Sayaji Mori, Venkoba Rao and his son Deva Rao. These 4 people went to see that person. That person had not in the house. They have to wait for some time, but they waited there, and after he came, they started negotiating about the price and all that. And now Ramakrishna was prepared to pay any price for that land. So he said that now I want to purchase this land, and he had brought some money, about a few thousand rupees, 7,000 rupees. He paid that amount as a token amount, and the whole amount, the whole price, K.K. Ramakrishna said that within 6 months, I will pay you the entire price of this land. That much time I would require to purchase this land. And thereafter, he called one Kalyan Rao Joshi from Hyderabad. He was an advocate. He was asked to prepare a draft for the creating the trust for this whole construction, or the whole making of the center, for building the center. He wanted to make a trust, and he requested Kalyana Joshi to make a agreement. And thereafter, after these things, some money were paid, and thereafter, this money which he had asked for 6 months, this money was clear within 3 months. Just mind well. How? Because immediately Ramakrishna issued a circular to all Baba lovers that such and such project is being taking shape again, which had been left half done, and we have decided to review it, I revive it, and the money which every person who is willingly pay, we can willingly pay and is in a position to pay, they should pay 10,000 rupees. And believe me, K.K. Ramakrishna, any project he has brought before people will just pour money. So much money he received on that. And the whole money which was received, the whole price was paid off within 3 months. And the agreement was signed for the purchase of the land. But in between, before that, after the decision of purchasing the land, after paying the token money, K.K. Ramakrishna went to Hyderabad, went to Andhra. He contacted one person, very noble person, very nice person, businessman by name Chinta Sarvarao. He contacted that money and explained to him the whole project. This is the project that we are going to take up now, and I want your help. Chinta Sarvarao just took out his checkbook. He signed it and gave it to K.K. Ramakrishna and said that whatever amount you want to pay, you put it there. K.K. Ramakrishna returned the check back to him and told him that I have not come for money. You can pay it afterwards. I have not come for money. I want you to be the first chairman of this trust. For that purpose, I have come to you. So please give your consent. After much thinking, Chinta Sarvarao agreed to become a first chairman of that trust. Chinta Sarvarao, for some of the people who have been attending some Amar Tithi, olden time, he used to recite Parvardagar prayer in a poetic way. He used to sing it, and he had a very sweet voice and very, very nice singing, very emotional singing. He used to sing it. His style was very nice. So he he decided to become the chairman, and therefore the whole draft was prepared, the objects of the trust, and then the first body of the governing body of the trust, everything was finalized, and then it was brought to Bangalore. The whole transactions were signed by all the people, and that is how the whole land came into the possession of Baba lovers. After about a month or so, after this whole transaction was completed, after about month or so, that Muniappa passed away. After about 1.5 months or so, the Muniappa, from whom this land was purchased, at the 11th hour, he passed away. Now here, I would like to point out your attention. In the year 1939, in the month of December, Baba had laid down the stone. And the whole, practically whole Mehrabad was taken to Bangalore. The whole Mandali was staying in Links. Links is a bungalow, a beautiful bungalow, and a very big, large area. The owner was the brother of Mirza Ismail, who was the Diwan, or the chief minister of Mysore state. And he himself was very interested in creating a center by Meher Baba in Bangalore or in Karnataka. He was very much interested, and that is why he has offered required place to Meher Baba. Quite a big land was offered, and then the site, even though it was far up from the main city, still then that is a beautiful site. And then, as I told you, that the stone laying ceremony was very much publicized. Dr. Ganni and Norina, they were giving lectures on Meher Baba and Meher Baba's work, Avtarik work, and this creating the center in Karnataka. And when while opening of this, while laying down the stone, many people from all over Karnataka, so many people had gathered at this place. And very ceremoniously, that function was completed there. And as I told you, it was abandoned because of the war broke out, and then government reserved all these open lands, and some problems cropped up, and then Baba took the whole thing to Mehrabad, back to Mehrabad. Recently, I was thinking that retaining Mehrabad as it is, Baba wanted some places for creating centers. In fact, these Western ladies, Elizabeth Patterson, Norina, they were very much after Baba. This Nani, they were very much after Baba, that Baba, there should be one center, universal spiritual center, which would be useful for the posterity to know about you. And Baba was just avoiding this, Baba was postponing it. But then this was the first effort for creating this the center, which they were very much after Baba to create it. And Baba had agreed to that, and finances were arranged for building that center. And that is how the 9 rooms were already constructed. And the central building and 3 remaining rooms were to be completed. The central building was to be constructed. And after, from 39 up to about 84, you can imagine, from December 39 up to 84, middle of 84, the land was being protected. It was being protected by whom? By whom? It was being protected by God himself. Very mysteriously. Very mysteriously, it was being protected. That man who was owning, last person who was owning that land, he was not prepared to sell it. There were offers from many other people. And he has, every time he has refused to sell it. And ultimately, when Baba person went to him, willing for purchasing this land, somehow that person agreed to sell his land. And after completing his job of protecting his land, he passed away within a month's time, within a 1.5 months' time. It is really a mystery. It is really a mystery. We have one saying in Marathi, "Ale devajicha manate te konate chalena." What is willed by the divine? It can never be stopped by anybody on this earth. This project was to be there. After that, Ramakrishna came to Pune back after getting the promise of the whole purchasing of the land. And he wanted to have some papers regarding the old time, the drawings of that land, how Baba wanted it to be constructed. When he approached Eraj simply shrugged off firing Ramakrishna. Whatever Baba is left of, who are you to think about reviving it? What business you have to do that? And he refused that. I don't want to help you in this. I don't know about this and I don't want to help you about this. He just shrugged off. And Ramakrishna just came back, disappointed, came back. But then he was not quiet. K.K. Ramakrishna was not quiet. What his feeling was that when I visited that place where Baba had stayed for about 3 nights, I saw Baba sitting there. And he was a little bit surprised how Baba was wearing the dhoti. And when he searched out for their old records and the pictures he got, in that picture, it is confirmed that Baba was wearing dhoti at that time. So you can imagine the conviction of K.K. Ramakrishna that whatever came out of his mouth, that this land should come back to life, that was accomplished without anybody's help. Ramakrishna was such a person who will never, once he is possessed with some idea, he will do everything for that. So for this project, this Beramala project, Ramakrishna's whole focus was on that. And believe me, it's a very interesting things are coming out of this thing. I told you that people had paid 10,000 rupees in each month. So much money was, and Ramakrishna were meticulous about spending the money and maintaining the records of that, along with the help of one Mr. Bhausar and Omai. They were very honest people, very honest people. They didn't, many never mismanagement of the financial matters. Ramakrishna was very strict about it, and so the other people. And then after receiving this money kept on receiving, and the work was to be started. There was no help from anybody. So this one person, one architect, he was asked to prepare a design for the central dome, central construction center. And for that, Ramakrishna had read some books, dug out certain things from various books, and placed before that architect. And by his own ideas, that architect made a design which was approved by the whole trustees. And the work for the main center was started ceremoniously. That ceremony was conducted there for starting this. We had attended, I also attended that. I was, and about quite a number of people from West, they had also come and attended that ceremony. So this is the start of this Beramagala project. One very strange thing I would like to explain here is that there is one place in US, Haiti, Haiti, some spelling there. I do not know how many people are, I mean, just familiar with this name, Haiti. There is some state, some sort of a state or some a person from that place. He was staying in New York then. He came to Pune. First he came to Mumbai. I met him there in Mumbai, and I took him to several places in Mumbai for his own purpose. I used to take out time from my office and then move with him. And he stayed with me for a couple of days. Thereafter, I brought him to Pune. Introduced him to K.K. Ramakrishnan. And that person, one by name Robert Razor, some name. He offered to help. He started helping the construction of the center. He was very, I mean, this very expert person. He opened the whole Pune Center bookshelf and made the cupboards. I mean, well proof from the foolproof from the ants and some insects. He himself worked on that, and he was really ready to work on any project. Once there was a just a food party in Pune Center. A lot of people were there, and this alone man had prepared some vegetable he has prepared himself. A big vessel was there, and he had prepared. something for the whole people, and they liked it. So this was all in all. This person was all in all. He was an engineer. He knew engineering, but I do not know whether his qualification was there. But he knew engineering, and he went and stayed there in Beramangala. And he used to supervise the work at every stage. And it is said that at times when the sand was brought in full sand, full trucks of sand, when it was brought, this person used to attend that truck. He will first examine whether sand is a pure sand or it is containing lot of earth within that sand. If it is not pure, then he will reject it, straight away reject it. And now the Indian contractors, they had their own way of working, whereas here the Americans have different mentality, different outlook toward the whole construction work. This person had become so very nuisance to the contractors that they complained about him, that he is rejecting and we are meeting with losses. But he was very sincere in his thinking. I told you about these ladies who were supervising the first 9 buildings. They used to pour water. If the water oozes up to down, they will break whatever is constructed. And that contractor ran away from there. Now here also, the contractors had very difficult time with Mr. Robert. But then Robert, after staying there quite some, after helping lot in this whole project, he went back, and thereafter I had never heard about him. I do not know where from this angel had come and helped this project. And then the work was taken over by the architect, who was a very nice man. He helped in construction of this whole project. And luckily, the whole thing looked as if it was according to Baba's design. It was so very similar to the original design, which was afterwards got by Ramakrishna. So all these Baba's work, we cannot understand, we cannot judge, we cannot make any interpretations about any of Baba's act. This is what about this Beramangala. Now we are nearing the time. Before that, I would just tell you one thing, that when the central structure was constructed, and at the time of opening that, the whole group, the Sufi group, under the leadership of then Murshid John Mackay or some name, they had come, they have visited, and they have visited several centers, and they had gifted so many things, Baba batches and so many things to many centers. They came for that opening of that center, Ramagala Center. And then it is a trust which is managing the whole affair of this Ramagala project. The the persons who are now working on that, you see, all the people of the olden time, they have been, now this Kalyan Rao Joshi was very much helpful in all the legal matters. He has passed away long back. But then during that opening ceremony of the center, I had composed one song wherein the whole how the process of opening the center has been there. I had discovered, but the one thought I had put in there, that any project or any work or any object which is willed by divine, it never stops half done. It is going to complete it by any means made, but it may take time. But then what is being willed by the divine, no earthly obstacle can stop that work. That is what has happened in this case. All those people who have contributed 10,000 rupees, they are really blessed. They are blessed with taking part in this big project, which was opened by Meher Baba himself. It's a really very significant thing to study, how the working of the divine goes on. And Baba has many times said that I will turn the key. Outwardly, it may appear that he is not putting his mind into something, but then internally he turns the key, and the things happen according to his turning the key only. There are innumerable examples during Baba's new life of this turning key. The things which appeared impossible, just impossible, they have happened according to Baba's will. So this is Avatar's working. And in whatever way we can participate in his work, we are really blessed with people. His blessings are there always on us. We are fortunate to have participated in any work at any center, at any place. They are really blessed people. Now with this, we will close our talk and have our tea and little of Bhati Chalam. Jai Baba, and thank you so much for a patient hearing. I will take up the Aarti.
Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.
Which Aarti? Which Aarti? Which Aarti? Which
Aarti, which you want? I will sing that.
I love them all, but how about Adi Meheramana Arati Swikaro Meheramana. Yeah.
Arati Swikaro.
Divya Sanatana. Japan Kalpa.
जहाँ कल्पना शब्द न पहुँचे, ऐसे अपरंपार लेती लेती वेद पुकारे, महिमा तोरी अपार। दिव्य सनातन परम दयाघन, दिव्य सनातन परम दयाघन, हे जगदोद्धारो मेरे मन आरती स्वीकारो, मेरा मन आरती स्वीकारो। धूप दीप चंदन चर्चाना, भोग लगाना फूल चढ़ाना, तुम्हारा ही तुमको लौटाना, काहे बढ़ाई करो मेरे मन आरती स्वीकारो, मेरा मन आरती स्वीकारो। सकल निधि के तुम कारण हो, सकल विश्व धारणहारे हो, तुम सम और नहीं तुम ही हो, हे सत्य अवतारो मेरे मन आरती स्वीकारो, मेरा मन आरती स्वीकारो। सकल चराचर तुम्हारी माया, माया भी तो तुम्हारी छाया, तुम्हारा अंत न कोई पाया, तुम अनंत करो मेरे मन आरती स्वीकारो, मेरा मन आरती स्वीकारो। अपने को जम जो नहीं जाने, महिमा तुम्हारी क्या पहचाने, जो कुछ भी कहते अनजाने, गुण गाते तुम्हारो मेरे मन आरती स्वीकारो, मेरा मन आरती स्वीकारो। श्री महाराज तुम्हारी कृपा को क्या कोई दे सकता प्रभु तुमको, भीख चुनी दो प्रेमी जनों को, नित्य तुम्हें सुमिरो मेरे मन आरती स्वीकारो, मेरा मन आरती स्वीकारो। दिव्य सनातन परम दयाघन, दिव्य सनातन परम दयाघन, हे जगदोद्धार मेरे मन आरती स्वीकारो मेरा मन आरती स्वीकारो Whenever I sing this arti, actually Baba's face, it comes to my mind or my eyes. Baba moving, enjoying this arti and moving like this. Baba used to like it very much. So, any question, any reaction from all of you?
Well, Pratapji, that's a beautiful story about Baramangala. I mean, you know how it happened. Like you said, if God wills it, it'll happen.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
that's so beautiful because this gentleman, I'm sure, must have gotten a lot of money from the factory guy. The factory guy must have would have given more money, but he wouldn't
Ah,
sell it. Yeah, he wouldn't sell it till Ramakrishnan ji goes and
I
uh,
see.
wants to purchase it. Yeah, it's a
I
beautiful.
see.
Yes.
So many people, in fact, so many people have helped this project. Recently, Ramakrishna had his own ideas about. He wanted to paint Baba's charts on that inner dome,
Mm.
and that height is so much. And then I had made some inquiries about the painters who could do that, but it should be quality work. And
What chart? What chart?
I
What
I made
chart?
some inquiries. Yes.
Divine theme.
Oh,
Chart.
okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I was there in 2019 when a lot of Sufis came. I think it was uh,
Uh,
one celebration. I think you were also probably there. That's a
yes, yes.
beautiful dome they built. Very beautiful. I mean, it's just unbelievable. Yeah,
Acha, acha.
yeah. All those lot of Sufis came at that time.
Yes, yes, yes. In fact,
I,
Ramakrishna told me once in Pune when I visited Pune as my usual trip. He told me that now I am going to focus on Mangala, and it is you have to attend to the work of Pune Center. But the Pune Center setting was decided. So many people were there to work, and they were working very honestly, very hard working. So there was nothing for me to see, look after the Pune Center. But then Ramkushan, he had gone and stayed there.
yeah, yeah. Beautiful. Thank you. Any
Yes.
questions, anybody? Oh, Betty has a question.
Who is taking responsibility now for the Universal Spiritual Center?
Sorry, who was?
Who is taking responsibility? Who is it the trust? Who is it that is taking responsibility for maintaining the spiritual center? Who?
You are talking about now?
Yes. Now. Yeah.
Now, you see, the person Vyankoba Rao, who was a, boy selected for working. Jal had got him somewhere, and then he brought him to work for Baba, and he started working for Baba, and he was asked to attend to. You see, Baba had all that must ashram shifted to Bangalore. In that area of that Bangalore, um, I mean, links Bangalore, and he had constructed some small rooms for this must, and every must was to be attended by some person. So this Vankobara was attending to must, and he didn't like that. that work, because it's must. They have their own moves and ways of. So he was not very comfortable with that work, and in fact, everything, any to clean the dirt of the must, that was also to be done by the attendant. And this sort of work that person didn't like, and he thought of leaving that work, leaving Mera Baba, and go away. And when Baba, somebody told Baba, and Baba did talk to him. But in one meeting, Baba was talking with so many people. There was some subject being discussed in Baba's places, and Baba made this boy, stand by his side and just kept his high hand on his shoulder, one shoulder Baba had kept, and then Baba was attending to people, to different things, and somehow the mind of that person, that boy, because the way Baba had kept him very close to him, and Baba was putting his hand on his shoulder, that made a complete change in the mind of the person, that boy, and he dropped the idea of going away from Mera Baba, and he stayed with Baba, did all that work which was supposed to do. Even this person, this Krishna was in charge of a big, very great must, Chatti Baba. I told you that must required about 50 buckets of water for taking bath, and, and Baba used to do that, and equal number of buckets of earth he will put on his body. They had to deal with such people. Once,
That's right.
once Krishna was also thinking of, he was also fed up with that work, and he was thinking of going away from Mer Baba. Now he didn't speak to anybody, but this much Chatti Baba asked him once, you are thinking to go away from here, but where will you go? The whole world belongs to him. So this sort of a situation really wonderful. If you study in detail how Baba's way of working was there, it was not easy to stay with Baba. In my early age, I very much used to see myself in the role of Erech. I was very much very much interested in working as Erech has attended to Baba.
Yeah.
But as and when I started going up, and I understood the hardship of the work, that idea has just disappeared from my mind. It is better to leave aside and then work for Baba. It's very difficult. My God, very difficult to stay with Baba. How these people, how Baba has selected the people, and how they have managed.
Yeah.
Very, very difficult.
Pratap,
Yes, please.
in when I first went to India, to Mehrabad in 1976, Erich had a stroke. He had a stroke, and he had to go to to Pune for his mother and sisters to take care of him. Yeah, but before he had this stroke, it was his birthday. It's almost your birthday, October 13th. And we says, what do you want for your birthday, Erich? He says, I want to die.
Yes, yes,
That
yes,
was
yes,
that was the end of the party.
yes, yes, yes.
So beautiful. Eric was so beautiful.
Mm.
Merchant has a question.
Jai Mer Baba Kaka. Jai Mer Baba Kaka.
Jai
Kaka,
Baba,
can you
Jai
hear me
Baba.
out?
Sorry?
Same way as you explained about Bhairamangal, you should also throw light on Mandla. Mandla at Jabalpur and Madhya Pradesh. And also you took us to the Toka. You know Toka. You should also tell about those in one of
Mandla,
your
you said,
talk.
you talk about Mandla.
Mandla as well as Toka.
Last
Both.
time I just talked a little about Mandla.
But
Because
still more about, because that Samadhi replica, Samadhi, same type of Samadhi building still exists.
it is said that that is a replica of Samadhi, but it's not a replica of Samadhi, except that there are these four signs of four religions. That's all. Otherwise, the whole structure of Samadhi is altogether different from that place. It is just a room, big room, and then the four sides. It is not a replica of Baba Samadhi. No, not anyway. I have visited that twice. Believe me, I have visited that twice. Once along with Kishore Mistry and all these people. And we went and talked with those people. There was one sadhu who was staying there along with one woman. And they were, just very comfortably living there. And I had very serious thought of the same thing as to why not to restart it by one thing, that it is a very much far off place. You were far from Jabalpur also. And there is nobody to look after that. So, and then there were also litigations among the owners. This Rajnikant Upadhyay, he had warned me when I had thought of collecting some money for that place. He had warned me that twice he himself had tried to do something about this, maintaining this place. But then the senior people from Mandali people have said that he need not put his mind into this project. And so Rajnikant told me also that you should not put your mind into this project, because there are a lot of complications in that. But lately, Mehrnath had told me that somebody has been found out by them to look after this. But it is, nobody is keeping any contact with that center, that mandla.
So much property has been now taken over by land grabbers, I was told, but the building is still intact.
Building is there. You see, after we left that place from there, once we visited and we left that place, after a few days there was a earthquake.
Yeah.
And that lady who was staying there, she sent message to me that the building has been gone. The earthquake has caused a lot of breakages in that room. So she wanted some money, but since I was warned not to indulge myself into this collecting money and all that, I didn't do anything. But somebody must be there now. Merath had told me that somebody they have found out to look after that. I do not know the present position of that project.
How about Toka? Toka.
Toka is
yeah, still some some room is there still. And in fact, you took us to the site. I still remember. Yeah.
Toka is also not only that some construction is there, some dome-like construction is there. That is the only thing that is remaining of that. And other places are being there is agricultural land, and
Yeah, agriculture land.
yes, and the owners are there who are there. We have to cross their agricultural land and then see this small structure. There is only one structure, and
Yeah.
because of our people visiting very often, and perhaps that family who is a farmer's family, they are looking after that
Yeah.
structure. For what purpose that was being used, nobody knows. It is a dome-like thing.
Yeah.
Hmm.
In fact,
I,
when we visit,
I,
when you took us, it's a very difficult to push the door also. So
yes,
much. Nobody opened for many years. We really
yes,
pushed the door and went inside. Still remember.
yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. I had very liking to visit this place. Even I have taken some people, Hyderabad people to
Yeah,
Seoul.
that's only. Yeah. I was there in that
Even
group.
this uh, near Toka, what is it? Baba has a Bahadi Maslasram.
Rauri.
Rahuri.
Rauri. Yeah.
Rahuri, yes, Rahuri.
Howdy.
The people, people who are owners of the car, they used to some other place, but that was not the place. I when I went there, I think Girdhar and all these people were there with
Yeah,
me.
yeah, I was there. Yeah.
I inquired about that whole with the persons there, and they said that this is the place, and I could make out because in this very start there is a big tree, and under that tree, Baba used to I've served them much. Either they used to cut their hairs, or then he used to feed the people. There is a nice place under that tree. And then beyond that, there was Baba's room, the Rahuri room, as we say
Yeah.
in Mehrabad. The whole
Mehrabad. Yeah.
room was there. It was a big area in Baba's charge. So Rahuri Ashram, for 5 months, Baba stayed there. Lately I have just uh, come to know that Baba was in a mind to construct a center somewhere else and leave Mehrabad, because the life in Mehrabad was not very easy life, because one thing, there was shortage of water always, and all the other things are difficult to manage. And this is the reason Baba, I never thought of these things, but Baba was to vacate Mehrabad, which seems to me, I do not know, but we seem to be very strange. It cannot be, because Baba stayed there. Baba never. But some books I have read recently that Baba wanted to have a center somewhere else and vacate the whole Mehrabad. And this last time I just read a letter of the Sufi center. How many ladies were taken? How many Westerners were there? And how many ladies? About 20 to 23 ladies were there who were shifted to that Links bungalow. Then all the men Mandali had been accommodated in some other place, and all Mastashram was also taken there. So this sort of a moving the whole establishment to some other place. It is a great task, and we cannot understand the ways of Meher Baba. We cannot understand. We can outwardly see and interpret ourselves, but then we can never understand his ways. And Baba has also given his explanation as to how he works. He constructs and breaks it. There are several examples of such a thing.
In fact,
So
Kaka,
today,
in fact, Kaka, 1 second for this. We are all Hyderabad people are grateful to you for showing that Daigaon, where last Baba met Upasni Maharaj, and also Borgade at Nasik and Nashik Ashram. Sometimes you can throw light to Westerners also, our Baba family members, about Baba's that small
Acha.
cottage where Baba met last time in 1941, that Upasni Maharaj, Daigaon. Because of we were able to go to there, and we also visited Borgade cave at Nasik.
Thank you, thank you.
Baba made us to see. Thanks to Pratap uncle.
I got so much of happiness moving with you. It was such a nice time with all of you. Very nice time. I can never forget that.
Pratap.
So, yes, please.
Yeah, Pratap. I so vividly remember you saying how Baba, when Dr. Ghani died, he says that was the worst thing for him to experience in the new life. I want to hear more, not today, but I want to hear more about Dr. Ghani and Baba. Yeah, please. You know, Baba brings so much humor to this manifestation, and Ghani has that perfect blending. I want to hear more. You had to spend a lot of time with Ghani. Yeah, yeah. Anyway, not today, but I haven't forgotten. I'm waiting.
In spite of Dr. Gani's humorous nature, but that times of separation, one gets it. However, one may be very stern and very strong in his controlling their emotions. Even then, there are some persons like Adi Rakhi K. Ramakrishnan. Baba's name has made them weep, made them flow their tears. This is the love of Meher Baba. Everybody who has come in Baba's contact, there have been times when these people have shed their tears. Everyone. Yes, everyone.
Hey, Daddy.
In the last days of Adi, he used to become very emotional in giving talks. Very emotional. So Baba's...
Who would become emotional? Ghani?
Sorry?
Was Ghani became emotional?
Ghani had one son. Ghani had only one son, but he had about four or five daughters.
Wow.
Emotional कोण व्हायचं ते विचारतात. कोण इमोशनल होत होतं ते विचारतात.
नीट सांग ना मला.
कोण इमोशनल होत होतं असं त्या विचारतात. डॉक्टर गणी का कोण? तुम्ही आता सांगितलं ना जी.
He's talking about Adi.
Adi. Yeah.
Yes. Adi, Dr. Ghani, so they have become emotional. Once, I think somebody told me that when Mahatma Gandhi met with Baba on the Rajputana boat, when he was going for the round table conference and Baba was going to visit London, that ashram. So on the way, Mahatma Gandhi asked Baba, what is there, that people weep, people shed tears after looking you? Baba said, from toe to top, I am love. from my foot to top, I have love, and that love makes them to weep. Hmm. This is what it is, and believe me, very hard people have lived in Baba's life. He has not left anybody without. Look, Emily, leave aside the people with emotional people like me, but then very hard looking person, they also shed tears, they also weep. Francis, we can
Wait.
take example, Francis, K.K. Ramakrishnan, military man is above the family relations, above all those emotions. But then in the latter part of their life, they weep. No, nobody is left out.
Jai Baba.
Hey, Baba. Wow,
Jai
that's
Baba.
yeah.
Jai Baba, thank you so much for Jai Baba.
So
3 times.
thank you, Pratap
Avatar.
ji, and we'll say Avatar Meher Baba ki jai as we do always.
Yes, please. Yes.
Avatar
Meher Baba ki
Baba
jai.
ki
jai.
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 Avatar Meher Baba
Avatar
ki
Baba
Meher
ki
jai.
Baba
jai.
ki
Ki
jai.
Jai.
Avatar Meher Baba
Avatar
ki
Meher
jai.
Baba
Jai
ki jai.
Baba. Ki Jai.
Jai Baba. Jai. Thank you,
Jai
Baba.
Meher
Thank
Baba. Thank
Thank
you.
you,
Thank you,
Jai
Baba.
Baba.
Thank you, Prakash.
Jai Meher Baba, Pratap
Thank you,
Kaka.
Pratap. And Pratapji.
you. Jai Baba.